everybody. This is Liz, and today I have someone with us that I've been waiting for you to meet, and I will let him introduce himself and where he's from.
Yeah, so I'm Terrel Eek. We're from Johnson City, Tennessee. We have a location, an Augusta location. We call it Augusta Lawn Care of Boones Creek.
Wow. It must be beautiful there in November. Is it really nice right now?
So right now, yeah, we're having some pretty good weather. It's a little warmer probably than normal. And yeah, it's beautiful. We are 2 hours from Gatlinburg from the Smoky Mountain National Park. So very
Nice.
mountainous, a lot of trees, a lot of hills and things like that. So yeah.
I remember being there in
great place.
October one time, and it was stunning. It was so pretty with all the leaves on the trees.
Yeah. Yeah, we're just past that peak season now. So a lot of that color is gone, but there's a lot of leaves to pick up and stuff like that too. So
Awesome. Yeah, we'll
good.
get to that part. Can you
Yeah.
share a little bit about your family, where you came from, kind of what life was like for you when you were younger?
Yeah, absolutely. So I grew up in western Nebraska. I have three brothers. Two brothers and one sister. So family of four kids. We had let's see, 2012, we started a lawn care business there actually, and with dad and my other two brothers. So it was just the four of us, and we started that and ran that for about 10 years or so till
Wow.
I guess we decided that we wanted to relocate in a different part of the U.S. and try a different challenge, something different, kind of get out on our own. And so my wife and I moved here to Tennessee, and that's when we started thinking about. I knew I wanted to do lawn care here, but I just didn't know, how or what all that would consist of. So.
Well, there's a lot to unpack right there. How old were you when your dad started the business?
I would have been about 16.
And what was your whole thought process around that? Were you like, oh my goodness, I don't want to do this? Or were you like, yeah, let's do it?
So we were all pretty stoked about it. Obviously we had talked about it. And so yeah, we were all pretty stoked about it. And yeah, I didn't know a whole lot about business, obviously 16 years old.
Yeah.
So we just kind of jumped in and started rolling and yeah, I ended up doing a lot of the mowing, like, with that. We did other things too. We did spraying and fertilizing. And so my brother and dad, they put in a lot of sprinklers and stuff, but I was the guy that mowed. That's pretty much what I did.
So did your dad have another job and he quit and he started from scratch with no customers?
No, he didn't have another job. We had actually moved back into the area. We had been living in Kansas for 6 years. So we moved back to the area kind of where we had all grown up and where he had farmed and stuff. And so we moved back to that area. And that's when we had decided that, we wanted to do a family lawn care business. So that's when we started that.
How many customers did you have before you moved to Johnson City?
I don't know how many he had. So my brother, probably the most customers we had was with the spraying and fertilizing. My older brother, Kendon, did that. And yeah, he would have had quite a number, probably between 100 and 200, I suppose, that he did. And so that was probably the biggest base. Obviously, the sprinkler work was, that's more project, just one-time work with all the sprinklers. But then we did have some with the mowing too, maybe 40 or so with the mowing, 40, 45. Probably
so
something like that.
When you left, were you able to advertise the business and sell it?
Yeah. So I was the only one, and still am the only one that had moved out. So yeah, they ended up selling the mowing off to another fellow from the area there and selling, I don't remember if they sold him some of the equipment or not, but, the customer list. And
yeah. So you met your wife in Nebraska.
Yeah. So yeah, she grew up, right down the road, more or less.
Oh my!
I mean, not totally, but yeah, kind of right in our same area. So
that's pretty cool. So you grew up a little bit together.
Yeah, somewhat. She's younger than me. She's like 6 years younger than me. So
Oh, wow.
not exactly, she would have been a lot younger till she got, the age where we're gonna like grow up and get
You
married.
had to wait for her to grow up so you could
Yeah,
marry
that's
her.
right.
Yes. Yes. That's so cool. So,
Yeah.
well, I'll just tell you, my son, he waited 6 years too. He was 14 when he decided who he wanted to marry.
Mm-hmm.
And it was his motivation. He was never good in school, but as soon as he knew that he loved her and wanted to marry her,
Yeah.
man, he suddenly was getting A's. I don't know how that happened, and went to
Yeah.
college and the whole works. So it was motivating.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. So you moved with your family from Nebraska to Tennessee, and then did you start from scratch again?
Yeah. Okay. So when we moved to Tennessee, it was just my wife, just Bethany and I.
Oh, just you
So
two.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly. So that's where we were kind of branching out and stepping out.
Wow.
So it's just Bethany and I, and yep. So that's all it was. Just a little clarification there.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. So you guys left the area. Was there family in Johnson City?
No, we didn't have no family here. It was just there was a little group of our church people that were starting up a new location here in this
Okay.
area, and so we kind of wanted to be a part of like a little small growing church in a different location, and so that's what we did. So but we made a few friends.
Mm-hmm.
I knew one of my friends was part of the group, and so that kind of helped, and just making new friends as we're here.
That is pretty cool. So you two went there to start a whole new life, and being in a smaller church is a lot different than being a bigger one.
Yeah, exactly. So that was kind of one of the things that we wanted to be a part of, is part of one that was smaller, and there's just a lot more chances to jump in and like put
Yeah,
yourself out and stuff like that.
exactly. Yeah, start serving and not waiting until some of the older ones
Yeah,
decide to step back a little bit. That's pretty
yeah,
cool. So you guys have
exactly.
probably built something great there too, just like you're helping us build something great with Augusta.
That's what we're trying to do. Yep.
So when you got there, did you decide I'm going to start a lawn care business?
Yeah. So I I knew that I was going to do lawn care before we ever moved. My sister actually was teaching school out here, so we came and visited her in November 3 years ago, and so that was kind of actually what initially brought us here. We came and visited her, and we were thinking about moving, and so we started really thinking about this location. And then while we were here visiting her, it was fall time, so there was all the leaf cleanup activity
Yeah.
going on around town. So I had my eyes open. I was watching the crews around working. They were cleaning stuff up at the apartment where we were staying with her, and I was like, man, like it just looked like I was used to. It was obviously a different style of lawn care that we did in
Yeah.
Nebraska. Just the differences between different parts of the U.S. And to me, it looked like I was like, wow, it just looks like they're not even trying, and they're running these businesses, and as
Yeah.
like, okay, if these guys can do it out here, we can do it too. So anyway, so yeah, I definitely knew that we were going to do lawn care because
Mhm.
that's all the experience that I had too.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I'm not just going to go start something totally random like roofing or something when I have no
Yeah.
experience with it. So we knew we were going to do it. We didn't know we were going to do it quite as soon as we did. But yeah, we ended up some situational stuff happened, and we started up, in May there of 2022, I believe.
Wow. So did you have no customers? Like, how did you market yourself to get going?
Nope, no customers. So yeah, so like we joined, in May there, and it was a little bit late, a little bit after spring rush in a way, so that wasn't optimal.
Yeah.
But I'd actually been going around just like door to door before spring rush started. Well, actually, kind of as spring rush was starting, before we had joined with Augusta. So
Mhm.
had just a few people, and then kind of went from there.
So how did you first hear about Augusta?
Yeah. So YouTube.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. Imagine that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had watched a lot of his videos and stuff. Probably even before that, actually, my dad-in-law started up, like, I would say kind of a similar business,
Mm-hmm.
a franchise business that had to do with filter cleaning. The name is DPF Alternatives,
Okay.
and kind of watched him start that from scratch. He's just a farmer, a Nebraska
Mm-hmm.
farmer, but he started DPF Alternatives up, and so that kind of opened my mind to like the franchise idea. I kind of probably would have been against it before that,
Yeah.
but started watching him. Watched him do it for a couple years and really take it off and grow it in a couple years. And so I thought, well, hey, if dad-in-law can do it,
Yeah.
out in western Nebraska, why surely we can do it something similar here. So yeah, then stumbled on him on YouTube, I'm sure somehow, and then just started watching all the videos
Mm-hmm.
and pretty much I think watched every single one of them. So
Wow. So when you thought of starting a business, were you looking on YouTube to get some business acumen a little bit, or were you looking for, how to do something with the trimmer or mowers, or how did you come across it?
yeah, I don't really remember. I did used to, even in Nebraska, I remember I watched like Brian's Lawn Maintenance quite a
Yeah.
lot. Um, so maybe it was like there. Maybe I once, probably ran across it there or something.
Yeah, it was probably in
Because
your
I
feed.
was I was trying to, kind of learn some tips and stuff, even while I was doing lawn care there, through YouTube and stuff. So.
Yeah. Was it scary starting your own business? Because you wouldn't have known much about it when your dad started. So, like, did you know what to get a business license or how all that worked?
Yeah, that was some of the most time consuming stuff. Really, I
Yeah.
think I got way too like what's the term, analysis paralysis over some of
Yes.
that stuff.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, there was a lot of that. I didn't know how to do any of that at all, and so it was just like it's just one thing after the next that I'd never dealt with.
Yeah.
Oh man,
So
I
you just
remember just like
started and handled it as you're like, oh, I'm supposed to have insurance.
yeah. Yeah, I remember just literally spending like weeks up in the office in front of the computers, one
Yeah.
thing after another.
Yeah, that's so cool though, the School of Hard Knocks. Do you ever hear Mike tell the story that he didn't know you're supposed to clean up under the mower and you're supposed to change the oil and stuff?
I don't know if I heard that one.
He didn't know you were supposed to change the oil.
Yeah,
So that's what happens when you start at 13. You're just trying to
yep,
figure it out, right?
yeah. His dad must not have been a mechanic.
No, definitely not. No.
Yeah,
So that is really interesting. So you trial by fire, you figured it out, and then you started listening to Mike, and he would have started the franchise by then. But what made you be brave enough to set up a call and to even talk about being a part of it? And what did you think you needed that you would want something like that?
yeah. One thing quick, I might jump in here. It looks like my battery might be getting kind of on the low side.
Okay.
Is that okay if I grab a charger?
Oh, 100%.
All
All
right,
yak. All
I'll
yak
be
while you
right
go.
back.
Yes. So Terrell here, he has a wife. She's Bethany, and they just had a baby. And we had our conference, our summit in Louisville, Kentucky, and he was able to come with their perfect child. And it was wonderful to be with him. I just talked about your wife.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So
Does she
okay, so back to your
go for
question.
it?
Brief me just one quick again on that one.
Yeah. So when you started hearing about the franchise, what made you make the phone call to Lee, or I think it was Lee then? And
Yeah.
why did you think you needed something like that to even set up the call?
Yep. So I remember trying to think about starting here, in Johnson City, and I had just kind of looked at the market, and it seemed like it was a really competitive market
Mm-hmm.
with a lot of competition going on. That was a lot different than I was used to in Nebraska, because out there it was just more or less, we were about the only people that did lawn care in the area,
Oh,
out in
wow.
farm country. And so like literally
Yeah.
there was no competition at all. Like we were about the only people. And so
Yeah.
coming here, I started like driving around just seeing like trucks galore, like lawn care guys everywhere. And so I think the combination of that with me not having any real business experience at all, like I knew how to mow lawns and I knew how to talk to people, but that was pretty much it. And so I couldn't imagine trying to start in a market like that with just, no experience. And so I thought, well, surely this will help kind of provide a lot of extra knowledge that I don't have.
Yeah. So what was it like when you booked that call with Lee and talked to him?
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, it was good. I had talked about it, I talked about it with Bethany and finally, decided to go ahead and do that. And I guess, yeah, so I was just impressed with how it didn't feel like I was being like pitched to, like it just, Lee talked about it with me. We talked about our situation, what we were trying to do, starting from scratch, not having really a lot of capital to start with. And so he kind of, helped me consider what options we had. We decided to go with the solo operator model because we didn't have any cash really. And, but yeah, getting started, I don't know. It was just, I talked to Bethany a lot and yeah, I guess we just decided to jump in and book the call. And I think I had several calls with him maybe. So
that is great. So not only were you guys brave enough to move, then you was stepping into this crazy franchise thing. And what did your dad say about that?
I don't really remember. I guess I'm sure he was like supportive of it. Like he's always been like just kind of open to, different ideas that we'd have, if we wanted to do something or even just like with moving and stuff, like he's, the way we were raised, him and mom, they always wanted us to, do what we thought we should do and do what was the best option or what we follow our dreams, I guess.
Oh, that is so cool. That's awesome. So once you joined, did you come up for training with a group and did Bethany come with you?
Yep. So, we came for the May training. Like I said, we had just missed out on the March training. I should have booked the call a little bit earlier. That would have been one of the things I might have done differently, but that's okay. So yeah, we booked tickets and flew up to Bellingham, Washington. Well, up to Seattle, up into the nice, misty, cloudy atmosphere that we weren't really used to.
Yeah, no kidding.
And
was it raining then?
I think it did do some raining while we were there, yeah. And just a lot of cloud cover, but had some good times up there and met some good people.
So when you left, you said it was May. So that means you missed the March, April, all the first part of spring rush. So what was the advice to you when you went back to start marketing and jumping in? Did you have any customers?
Yeah, so we had just a few because I had been driving around and just door knocking basically before that. So the advice was just to kind of keep doing the same really because we didn't have a lot of cash for marketing. So we kind of just kept doing door hangers and door knocking. And the first year was pretty slow. We didn't gain just a ton of traction the first year there, starting that late. So yeah, that's what we did.
I think I saw you in June, right after you started in Tennessee at the conference that Kevin put on.
Yeah, we did attend that because we just felt like we needed some extra boost, I guess. So
yeah, I talked to Bethany at the conference and she did not remember that you guys sat beside me at the table.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I must have made a great impression. She didn't even remember, but
well, yeah, maybe water under the bridge.
Oh yeah, it was so nice to see you there. A little apprehensive and said you hadn't really got traction and really going yet. But was it helpful for you to be with all the franchisees there?
Definitely, 100%. Yeah, it's just great, seeing other people doing the same thing, more yellow shirts, more people from all over,
Yeah.
Doing the same thing, shooting for the same goals, and yep.
Yeah. So after you were there and continued on in the season, when did things start picking up for you? Was it in the fall for leaf cleanups or when did you start to gain that traction?
Yeah, so I guess I don't feel like we gained just a big amount of traction that first year. It was just kind of a slow trickle. We did
Yeah.
what we could, and then I was definitely getting, really, really into door hangers toward the end of the season with like leaves and stuff.
Yes.
But yeah, so I don't know that we really got a big swing that
Mm-hmm.
first year. We just did what we could, and we knew that next spring rush would be better because we were going through it all from the start.
Yeah, for sure. So when you were with your dad, you did a lot more services. So were you thinking you wanted to do that too, or coming to Augusta, were you on board with simplifying services?
Oh yeah, I was 100% on board with simple services. I'd already talked to one of the other franchisees that's close to me here, Kevin Cohen from Harrisonburg,
Mm-hmm.
and he had showed me kind of how it's like you don't need to do 50 things in someone's yard. You don't need to do all of the services. So
Yeah.
and he was explaining to me like that's always been how I've rolled. It's just like the simpler the better.
Nice. Oh, you froze up a bit. Hopefully that will resolve. Can you still hear me? Oh, you froze. Hopefully that will resolve there. Hey,
Hey.
you froze for a second.
Uh-oh.
So yeah, that was awesome that you met Kevin. How has that been for you with other franchisees? Do you feel like you have more support connecting with other people than you would if you had tried to start this thing by yourself with no one around you?
Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna have to holler. I gotta go here again. I can't find a charger, so terribly
Oh
sorry about
no,
that.
it's gonna die.
Yeah.
Go for it. So that's what a lot of people have said when they've started at Augusta, that they felt like they were alone and they didn't have family. And talking to the franchisees as they got started became what was their family, because it was somebody who understood and could help them through all these rough times that small business owners go through when they first start something like this. So I've heard from many people that the support from one another has been one of the biggest thing that's helped them through. Every small business owner goes through different seasons where they feel overwhelmed and can't talk themselves through things. And to have somebody else that just tells you, "Yep, it's okay, it's going to happen," and there he is. Did
There
you
we
find?
go. I got a charger. Sorry for the
Yay.
inconvenience.
No problem. I just kept yakking. And
Yeah,
what I was talking about was the support of the franchisees. So do you feel
yeah.
like if you hadn't had anyone, you would be where you are today?
No, I was literally thinking about that today while I was driving down the road. Just like just like knowing that there's how many other people uh, out doing the same thing as what I'm doing, and being able
Yeah.
to talk to them, WhatsApp and Facebook and all of the, yeah, it's great.
Yeah. So are you on a group for WhatsApp with maybe the people closest in your area so that you can talk about stuff and help each other?
Hey Beth, can you help me get this thing set up? It's not set up.
Because the plug is at the bottom and it won't stay still.
Yeah.
That's Bethany, everybody.
Okay, so what was your question?
Oh, it was you were saying that you were out today thinking about that. My question was, do you have a WhatsApp group for your area to support one another?
So I don't think, well, maybe there is one for our area. If there is, I don't think I'm aware of it. But that might be helpful, even just if there was people around Tennessee here, that I could connect to. So
Yeah. So you've been about a year and a half in, right? You're coming into the fall, a little
yeah,
over a year.
yep, that's right.
So what's your plan for the fall?
Yeah, so we're just keeping on rolling with mowing. We have a lot of mowing that we're still doing, and then just trying to get as many upsell as many projects and leaf cleanups and all that good stuff as we can.
Were you able to use the door hangers that had the instant quotes this season?
Yeah, so we use those like crazy this spring. That was I would say where we really caught traction was this spring.
Awesome.
we just went out and I started, the 1st of March, pretty much as soon as the yards even halfway looked green, and just started putting them out by the hundreds and thousands.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
And
awesome.
they worked, it's just like they say, it's just a numbers game. So
Yes.
the more you get out, the better. And so that's what we did. We'd put the prices on them, and I'd go out there and just hang them up one after another.
Very cool. And have people called, become recurring customers and then have been calling for this fall and for some cleanups now?
Yeah. As far as from the ones I did this spring.
Yeah. So you got the mowing customers in the spring and now we're moving into fall. So that have they switched to you for their leaf cleanups instead of maybe their last company?
Yeah, I would say some of them have, and some of that we're probably still going to. We still need to send like a one-click email out for fall cleanups.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully we'll get some more from our recurring mowing customers.
Have you needed to hire anyone this year?
Yeah, I have. So that was something we did in the spring. I knew we were going to have to get the, with the amount of work that was going to come in, I knew we were going to have to hire. But just even like that was something that I would have never done as quickly as what I did without like Augusta. I was on one of my coaching calls with Lee, and he's like, "Oh, Terrell," he's like, "if you're going to grow, like," he said, "you just got to hire this spring."
Mm-hmm.
So I did that, set up my first interview and went from there. But
that's awesome. That's pretty scary, bringing on somebody else and to have to be dependent or having them depend on you for their livelihood.
Yep.
So you've been doing estimates, and are you still, I'm assuming you're working full-time in the field, and then are you just routing your estimates in?
Yep. That's pretty much what we've been doing. Just, mowing and doing estimates where we can. Sometimes, like this spring got really overwhelming, trying to do all the mowing, and then still a lot of estimates coming in.
Yeah.
But then after spring rush, that helped out a lot. You could fit them in easier, and yep.
That's great. So what are your goals for the future?
Yeah, so we just want to keep growing it, grow it at a pace that's sustainable, that doesn't burn me out too bad.
Yeah.
And I guess as far as like long-term goals or more short-term or both.
Yeah. So just for this year, kind of what were you hoping to reach? Were you just trying to get, say, a certain amount of customers, certain amount of employees, certain amount of estimates a day, or were you looking at a revenue this year and like trying to figure out from here to 5 years? Or are you just doing what you can and pedal to the metal till you can fill your roster with customers?
When we started, I definitely had a revenue goal that we wanted to reach by the end of the season, and we've come, pretty close to hitting that. I think we'll come close to it or hit it.
Awesome.
And yes, that's what my goal has been, and just get as many customers as possible. As many recurring mowing customers.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we did pretty well with that.
Yeah, that's smart. So when we were starting, I think we had 50 customers when I came to Augusta, and the next year we had 150, and the next year we had 300, and it was just crazy, but it'll start to snowball for you.
Yeah, that's what we're looking forward to.
And then with your great reputation, you're going to get a whole bunch by word of mouth.
Yeah.
So if you had it to do over again, is there anything you would change?
Yeah. There would be a couple things. One thing I can think of is I wish I knew about Augusta sooner.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess with us moving, that's probably about the soonest opportunity that we could have made out of it.
Yeah.
So I think maybe we did do that about right. But one thing I would have done differently, I guess this would be, more to like solo guys if you're starting with, next to nothing. Would be to really focus on like capacity-based growth. That was what I think I was really struggling to figure out that first year, like last year.
Yeah.
Of 2022, is just, any work. It doesn't matter. Just any work, and price just doesn't matter either. I think I was a little too focused on a premium price.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of hurt us pretty bad, actually, that first year starting up. So if I had to do it over, coming back from training, I would have just like door hangers as hard as I could. And anything, I think that would have been something I would have done a little differently.
Yeah. Well, how did you think of that? Was that in a coaching call? Do you have coaching calls with Lee every other month?
Yeah. So solo, we joined the solo franchise model. So yeah, we get bi-monthly, every other month coaching calls. And yeah, that was just something that he kept telling me, in our coaching calls, is that I needed to just get work on the schedule, just get as much on the schedule as I could, not worry about price. I kept thinking like, man, I need to raise prices to make more money.
Yeah.
And he just kept telling me, you just got to book your schedule out and then raise prices. So once that clicked with me, that's when, that's what we did this spring, was just tried to book out as quickly as we could.
Winter services is usually pretty foreign to customers. Are you going to try to do something like that this year?
Yeah, absolutely. We're actively trying to offer that to as many of our customers as we can. And yeah, I think our area here is a good area for that. We have, with it being up like kind of in the mountains, we have a lot, like it's really heavily wooded. A lot of the yards are. So from what I've seen, it just seems like a lot of the customers would benefit from having their yard kept clean all winter long.
Yeah.
Rather than letting it all pile up and then having a very involving, expensive spring cleanup.
Totally.
So, yeah, we're trying to offer that to as many people as we can.
That's awesome. And what about snow?
I'm still trying to figure that one out. We've only been here for one season through the winter,
yeah.
I don't really know how much snow we get. I've seen a picture one time of someone that, it had snowed pretty good around here, but I don't really know how much we get. I don't think it'll be a big thing really here. Maybe a little bit, but
yeah,
we'll see.
Every year the winter services will grow once you train the customers that they should have winter services.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
it's
so
kind of exciting even to think about just trying to keep growing it through the winter, as opposed to kind of sitting back and relaxing. That would have been what I would have been used to and done, was just sit back and relaxed. But
yeah, so it'll be pretty
can't
cool.
do that.
Recurring income all throughout the winter too.
Yeah.
So how has it been for Bethany? Because when you're first starting out, it's pretty lean. It can be pretty scary to try to grow so fast, and then funds are low. So was it a decision you both made together that it's going to be hard for a while, but we're going to figure this out?
Yeah, that's pretty much what it came down to. Like I said, we barely had enough for just the initial fee to get in.
Yeah.
And so I knew it was going to be really tight, and it was tremendous tight.
Yeah.
For the first little while, and then having to pull, we basically lived up, like the first year, we pretty much just lived up every bit that we made. We had to take it all back out for paying ourselves to pay our bills.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was how the first year went. But yeah, we knew it was going to be that way, and really it would have been that way with any business starting up. So
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty exciting. And I remember when we were talking about the guy that doesn't have the money to buy a growth model, and Mike being so concerned about that, because he said if somebody had offered me this when I was 18, all I could have afforded was the solo model. And where would I be today if somebody had given me that opportunity? So that's how it came to be, is for people like you to give you a start sooner.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm very thankful of that. Absolutely. Because I love being a part of Augusta, and I can't imagine, if that wouldn't have been an option.
Yeah. So we just had the second summit that you would have been to, right? No,
the
first summit, but you came to conferences in the middle of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what was it like coming there? So you're coming with tons of lawn care, landscaping companies, but how did it feel to come and be a part of Augusta, coming with all the others, but knowing you were a part of a group?
Yeah, that's definitely a really, it's motivating to me. Like I talked before, just, seeing guys coming from all over the U.S. and different locations and all different size of businesses. And yeah, you just have a variety of people, but everybody kind of thinks the same. So that's really neat.
Yeah, that's cool. So I would want to ask you, what kind of things like that are there that make you the kind of person you are? You seem like you have, like, you're very high character. I met Bethany. She's awesome. And you
Yeah,
guys
she is.
seem really solid and a great couple. So, kind of why are you that way? How are you that way so young? And what kind of things do you listen to throughout the day or while you work that are beneficial to you?
Yeah, so I wouldn't say that I've always been this way, because when I was, younger, I just kind of did whatever I felt like doing,
Yeah.
really. So, like, that's been something it's just been awesome. Like the last year and a half is realizing that, you can actually achieve your dreams. You just got to
Mhm.
go for them and, get outside your comfort zone. That's probably one of the biggest things, I guess. It's
Yeah.
just always realizing that you can't be in your comfort zone and achieve your dreams.
Yeah,
And
for
yeah, as
sure.
far as like listening to stuff, Augusta offers all kinds of, different recommendations of audiobooks and things. I listen to those whenever I get a chance. And then the mastermind, listen to
Mhm.
that every day with the live Facebook mastermind. So that helps a lot too.
Does Bethany listen to any of that?
Oh yeah, sometimes we'll listen to a mastermind together or whatever, and so yeah, she does sometimes, not all the time, but
Yeah, and that probably helps a lot because I've had some business owners for Augusta, and it's very hard to like convey all that's happening and let them know all the stuff when they never listen to YouTube or involved at all.
yeah.
And it's so foreign to them to try to grasp everything that's going on.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
it's
I always
definitely
like to try to
helpful.
I like to try to listen to as much of that stuff as I can, because I think it helps the guy stay connected, and then you hear about all these other questions that people have, and for sure if someone is in a similar sized business, if they started up about the same time as you can you know hear the things that they're asking and going through, and so that always helps too.
Definitely. Yeah. And how about a quote that you could share with us today?
Yeah. Um, so and this is not like any big wise quote or anything, but one that I've got on my whiteboard right here in front of me that I think about as often as I can. And I don't even know if it's a quote, but I guess maybe I made it up, but
Hmm.
it's just action equals motivation.
Oh,
And
that's so good because it
that's
doesn't
just
matter if you're
something
motivated.
that it's just something that I always used to have switched around. I always used
Yes.
to think that you needed to get motivated to go do something, and I've just found that it's exactly works backwards. That like action always is what motivates you, but you got to take action. So
Yeah. Like motivation comes after. That's
yeah,
awesome. How has it been for you to become a leader? Like when you have an employee, it changes your mind because you realize now I'm leading someone, I'm influencing them all day, and I'm responsible to find work for them to do. Um, did you have any experience in that? Had you already been helping in the church or leading people before?
no, I've never been a leader at all, and my dad even used to tell me that. He's like, "You're a follower. You're never a leader." So it's been that's been something, and I still work on it all the time. But I was never a natural leader.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just been something I've had to work on. But I do realize, and I see, that you have to being the owner. But with that too comes like it's really fulfilling when you do everything that you need to do, and um, you know always beat the employees to work, and have a
Yeah.
plan, and lead with enthusiasm. It's just neat to see how like that. I can just see how it affects like what I
Yeah.
do affects everybody who's with me. That's
Yeah.
cool.
So you're leading by example, and that's leading.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So in your church, did you come there and get a position in the church and able to lead from there?
So I don't really know if you would call it a position or not. I mean, I guess I'm a song leader. That would be one thing
Oh
I
yeah.
do.
Okay.
So yeah, that
Yeah,
would be one thing.
that's
Yeah.
great. So a lot of times in small churches, it is hard to establish yourself and kind of even be seen. And you probably
Yeah.
wouldn't have been able to do that at your previous church, right?
Yeah, it was a little harder. I mean, it was still good. Like, I had all my friends that I'd grown up with,
Yeah.
went to school, and so we all. I mean, it was always fun. And there was nothing wrong with it, but we just wanted something a little bit different, I guess, a little different challenge. So
Yeah, that's so
yeah.
cool. I'm glad you're doing that. It it's not often you have a platform to really share other guys in your situation, or gals that are wanting to do something, wanting to start a business. Maybe they don't have any kind of schooling or college education, so they have no business experience, but they've been watching all the content, and they would so like to be a part of this, or just to own their own business. What kind of encouragement could you give to them?
Yeah. I would say just go for it, because you just learn as you go. When you're starting from nothing, and you don't have a lot of capital to start, yeah, you just got to go for it. It's definitely worth it.
That's
100%.
awesome. Yeah.
I don't
So
know. That wasn't any big speech or anything, but
no, that's good. Another question they would probably have is, when you have no money and you don't have any equipment, how did you know what to get? Did you just kind of go like what I did with Dad? We use these mowers, and try to find the same
yeah,
thing.
that actually reminds me of something I was going to say. So I bought a bunch of equipment. I bought a bunch of Dad's equipment. Zero turn lawnmower, and like actually a lot of stuff. Before we started. So that would have actually been one thing I would have done differently. If I was going to do it again, I wouldn't have bought all that equipment to start with. I would have saved all that money. I think it was about 13,000,
Yeah.
and I would have paid for the initial fee, and then spent the remainder on marketing.
God.
So I think I kind of maybe got a little bit of the cart before the horse there when I started with buying all the equipment first. Now that I learned that, it's probably better to just, jump in and then start selling. And then, if you need to rent equipment or buy as you go, that would have definitely been something I would have done a little bit differently, but that's okay.
So
We live and learn.
if somebody was in your shoes and they didn't buy any of that stuff from their dad and they started on their own, would they just need to go out and get a push mower, a blower, an edger? What do you think they could start on the first day? What should they buy?
Oh yeah. Just a blower maybe, and a tarp and a rake. Because that's like right now you could do leaf cleanups if you had those things. And
Yeah.
just a transportation to get there. That's all it takes. And because you're just selling yourself, and
Yeah.
talking to people, and people need a service, and you just be friendly and talk to them, and that's how it goes.
Yeah, that's probably your gift. Your talking, your ability to sell, your smile. And another thing is your face is really open and welcoming. And I think that makes a big difference too. They're not freaked out by some big dude who has hair all over their face. And I don't know if you've noticed that, but they're probably not so intimidated by you.
Yeah, I definitely noticed that. And yeah, that's something I love. Like now, like talking to people and like doing estimates and stuff. Like that's my favorite part of it.
That's cool.
It used to be the other way around. Like I used to like the physical part of like mowing a lawn and putting out the stripes and trimming and stuff. I used to like that the most, but now I really love talking to the customers and stuff. Like just today, going and doing leaf cleanup quotes, and just, talking to someone who needs a service and walking through their property, and they have an idea of what needs to be done. And maybe they don't even know quite, but you just kind of, give them suggestions. And I enjoy that so much. It's fun.
That's great. So I think that, when you leave those estimates, they're just thinking about you. And then it's not so much about price. They're like, wow, I just really like that guy. I like him to be on my property. And I think you'll get more jobs than some other people because they feel like they can trust you.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I won't keep you. And I want to say that I appreciate so much you taking the time out of today. I know that it is leaf season and there's a ton going on,
Absolutely.
but I thought your story would be really helpful for other people just getting started, and not that they would come to Augusta, but just to be encouraged. And I should ask you, have you had some really low times when you wanted to quit the whole thing?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've asked myself if I should quit multiple times already.
And then what do you think? Do you think I should start a whole nother thing like in the roofing industry, or do you just feel like,
no, not roofing, but like I've even thought about just like, okay, like what if I just go, because there's another guy from here that does lawn care, and he's followed Mike Andes. He has basically a pink Augusta business. They run everything pink, but And he's a great guy. And it's like, man, it's just like quit and just go like work for him. But
give him all my customers and go be his employee.
yeah, but then, those, like you said, those are just low moments and you get through them. And then you start realizing, no, we better keep at this because, it's way better off. And,
and somebody in Augusta Nation might call me and get on to me for giving up.
Yeah, that's right.
We don't let each other give up. So that's the good part about being a part of it too.
Yeah, but no, if I could, I wish I could just count how many times I've thought about giving up already. It's been so
exactly
like yeah, that's something I never guessed, that when you started a business, you would think about quitting.
Yeah, it's no easy task. And that's why most businesses fail in the first 5 years, because they feel like they have to quit, that they're not getting anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody cheers when you start the marathon, but nobody cheers at mile 13.
Totally. Yeah. What do they say? There's no fans on the extra mile. There's nobody waiting to cheer for you. It's kind of lonely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you have a wonderful weekend, and tell Bethany hello and your little baby.
Yeah, we'll do it. Absolutely.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Yeah. Thanks for the call.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.
There we go.